What's up, guys? There are so many decisions to make when setting up an Amazon FBA business. But when it comes down to it, the most important thing is all about your product research. You have to know and be smart about what products to sell. And people ask me all the time, what are my recommendations? Well, don't worry, we've got your back, because today we're going to be reviewing some of my favorite tools when it comes to product research and product selection. So stay with me. Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Tradecraft. My name is Nick Young, and don't forget to subscribe if you want the latest and greatest information about Amazon FBA and private label. This time, we'll be talking about powerful product research tools that sellers like myself and other sellers use all the time to find the right products to select to sell. Top sellers really understand the importance of using the right information and being able to find data points to make good decisions, especially when it comes to product selection. Now, I can't stress this enough. Product selection is maybe 50 to 60% of all the work. If you have a good product, that means your marketing and your giveaways are all going to be easier down the line when you launch your product on Amazon. But if you select a bad product, that means it's very competitive, and it means that it's very, very difficult to make work unless you invest a lot in marketing up front. So that's why it's important that you have the right tools in place, you have the right systems in place to make sure that you select the right product from the get-go. So the product research tools that we're going to be talking about today are going to be great tools that you can use to basically format data, find data points, and make those decisions that I'm talking about. Now, I know product research can be very daunting, but with the right tool in place, it can certainly make the process a lot easier. So let's go ahead and dive in.
So let's talk about the first tool that came out. You guys probably heard of this company already, really well known, probably the most well-known one out there. It's called Jungle Scout. And Jungle Scout is easily one of the easiest to use tools. It gives you data on, ranking, sales volume, all that kind of stuff. And it was the first one out there to actually create this product research methodology using this Chrome extension. I like Jungle Scout, it's a great tool. I also like that it's pretty reasonably priced. There's two packages. There's one that's a $97 one-time payment, $97, and that gives you access to the Chrome extension for life. And there's also the Pro version, which is $197, and that gives you access to their product web app database. Now, a lot of people ask me, is the product database worth it? I think maybe for a newer seller, it might be worthwhile to just get an understanding of trends, what's happening, what's popular. But my perspective is this. The chances are you're not the only one looking at that database. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of other people trying to make money, trying to find products to sell. And if you're looking at the same product, you're gonna have a lot of competition really quickly. I think the opportunity in making money when it comes to doing product research is finding products that don't show up in this web app. So yeah, I think maybe it's worthwhile. It's only a one-time fee, so it's good to just look at, but we really don't use that in our product research methodology. We mostly just use the Chrome extension. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into the actual tool itself. Now, what you'll notice about the extension is that it's really quick. It loads really fast. It pulls in data. Sometimes it's a little slow, but I think relative to a lot of the other tools, it's very, very quick. So let's go ahead and just start from the beginning. So let's type in cookware. I'm gonna choose a broad keyword. This gives you a sense of just how quickly it pulls in data, okay? And now let's actually click into a listing. So I like that it also pulls in data for all the other products here in the sponsored ads as well, which is really helpful so you can see all the related products that are being pulled in on top of the one that you're really trying to target. On top of this, it includes some standard information, it includes rank, monthly sales, daily sales, which I think is new. And you can also edit and add more pieces of information that you want into the columns by just clicking here. Overall, I think it's a pretty simple tool. There are other tools that pull in more data here, but if you're looking for something that's just really quick and gives you the information, I think this is a good tool. In terms of accuracy, I've actually found Jungle Scout to be relatively accurate relative to the other ones, but now more and more, a lot of these tools are getting more and more accurate and close within one another. Keep in mind that these numbers aren't always 100% accurate. In fact, usually they're pretty off. But this gives you a benchmark of understanding the relative sales volume that this product has to your competition. So keep that in mind as you're using these tools. It's not going to be exact, especially when it comes to the revenue amount, but it's a good metric for you to follow. Now, I also like that it includes things like the dimensions, all this kind of stuff. It also has something called a listing quality score where they actually score a listing. I don't know how much weight I give to this. Once again, I'm really skeptical around automating any kind of evaluation of a product, but I like looking at the data, and I think this is really easy to use. On top of that, you can also export the information if you want, which is a relatively standard feature. Again, my opinion is that Jungle Scout is relatively bare bones. However, it is a good tool to get started with. All right, up next, we have our market intelligence by ViralLaunch. Now, ViralLaunch is a really well-known company. You've probably heard Casey Goss. He's super active. They have a lot of incredible content. We know Casey well, really great guy. On top of the actual Chrome extension is they offer other solutions like a keyword research tool platform. They also offer services. So it's a pretty good comprehensive service in terms of a company. And they have a great tool called Marketplace Intelligence. Let's quickly review pricing. So when it comes to market intelligence, it's reasonable. Unlike Jungle Scout, it's a monthly cost, so it's $17 a month, which doesn't break the bank, but that only gives you access to the Chrome extension. You can go ahead and go further down the line to get a full access to their suite of tools, which is very helpful if you want to go ahead and actually utilize the integration between the Chrome extension and the actual Pro Tools itself. So let's go ahead and just dive in so you get a sense of what I'm talking about. Now, let's look at cookware. This is the same example that I was using earlier. If you actually click through, one thing that's really obvious off the bat to me is that ViralLaunch is not nearly as fast as Jungle Scout. It doesn't pull the information as quickly, but the reason for that is because it gives you a lot more data points than Jungle Scout. And so if you actually look in here, there are a couple things that really stand out. First off, it's really well integrated with the keyword system that they have. So you can see how many exact keywords, how much search volume there is, all that kind of stuff, which is very valuable for evaluating demand of a specific category or a keyword. And when you actually click through, it takes you to the keyword research platform, which is incredibly useful. So you can actually see cookware, all this stuff, and it integrates into their platform. This is something that Jungle Scout does not have. And if you're really looking to get granular and get into the details, this is super helpful. You can even see the CPC and bid. So this is definitely a win for Marketplace Intelligence. On top of that, what I also like is that you can see historically for the past 30 days, how this listing is done in terms of their BSR. Has it gone up? Has it gone down? You might even notice that it spikes downwards in a direction, and it might be because of a lightning deal. So it helps you evaluate kind of historically how this SKU has been doing. Now, what I also like is that it shows ratios like this, like the review ratio. So if there's a competitor that has a high review ratio, that means they're really good at getting reviews. So it might be unlikely that you can compete with the specific competitor. And so this gives you a sense of just the competitive landscape and how they're doing. And yeah, there's also a great column here, which Jungle Scout does not have, which is it shows actual historical data. So you can see all the sales from last year and all the revenue from last year and what the expected sales are going to be for next year. So, again, I question the accuracy of all of this. Either way, these are helpful data points to help you make and formulate a good decision. Essentially, Marketplace Intelligence has all the tools that Jungle Scout has, but it layers it on with a lot more analysis and a lot more data that you can use. Something I also like is that there's an easy cost calculator that's integrated. Jungle Scout has a more minimal version of this. This is definitely a little more sophisticated. If you look at the trends, you can also go here. It pulls Google Trend data. And there's also, that feature in Jungle Scout, but it takes you to the Google Trends page. It's not all integrated into this easy to view and easy to interact with box. Again, overall, I question the product idea score. I think it's helpful as a barometer, but I would never actually recommend that you make a full decision only based off of the product idea score. We have a couple products that do really well, and it looks like a terrible product based off of these analysis. So really, it's important that you spend effort actually going in and making that evaluation on your own. Something I don't like about Marketplace Intelligence is that it's not easy to click into the other listings. With Jungle Scout, it's really easy. You can literally just click here. You can also see the image, so you can actually identify which one it is that you're looking at. Marketplace Intelligence doesn't have that in an easy to use manner. So, you're gonna have to click in one after another right here. Again, not a huge negative. Overall, the analysis that they have is very, very good. And I think it's a really good tool. And it justifies, in my opinion, the higher price point. One final thing I also forgot to mention is that it also shows something that's really interesting. I haven't seen this in other tools, is the date listed. And so I think this is really, really interesting because it shows you historically how these SKUs have been performing. I think these following columns give you a sense of, okay, well, how much time has this listing had to kind of gain traction? And do I think I can actually compete with them? And so these are really interesting data points for you to look at. Again, it's hard to make a decision based off of just one data point. Really product evaluation is all about looking at multiple pieces of the pie and then making the decision from there. So that's why I really encourage using a tool that gives you as many different points as possible. And I think Viral Launch does a fantastic job of doing that. Okay, so the final one I want to show you guys is one called Helium 10's X-Ray. Now, this is a brand new one that came out, I think, in the past couple months. And first off, one of the things that really strikes me off the bat is this thing is free. So I really, really like this tool, and I'll dive into why, but that off the bat is great. It's a free tool, you don't have to pay for it. And if you decide to, you can go ahead and pay for Helium 10's suite, which is really what they're trying to sell you. And the reason why this is powerful is because even though X-Ray is great as a standalone tool and it's free, where it gets really powerful is how it integrates into the actual Helium 10 platform, that suite of tools. And so if you're not familiar, this is actually Manny Coates' tool set called Helium 10. And so let's go ahead and dive into the features that I like about X-Ray, and we can also dive into how it integrates into the platform that So first off, let's go ahead and just load this. We're going to use the same keyword set that we've been using, cookware. And you'll notice once I click here, unlike the other tools, it shows you a bunch of different options, which is really cool. That means that there's actually a bunch of other additional tools that are included in X-Ray that are for free. So if you click here, X-Ray product research, you'll notice right off the bat, it is really quick. I would say that in terms of the format and the data that it provides, it's kind of a good mix between Marketplace Intelligence and Jungle Scout. It doesn't have as much data points as Marketplace Intelligence, but it has way more than Jungle Scout. And it also pulls really quickly. I'd say it's a really sufficient, really good quality tool. What I really like about it is it pulls in a ton of data, similar to Marketplace Intelligence, but it goes even further back. So, Marketplace Intelligence has 30 days, but this is 90, 1 year, and all time. So you can do this for the sales, you can do this for the BSR, so you can see how their BSR has changed during that period. And you can even see their review count, so how their reviews have changed over a period of time. So if you suspect that someone might be manipulating their reviews, you can actually look at that and see if anything looks suspicious. And those are things that you can look at. So I really like that. You can go way far back into actually finding that stuff. Now there's another feature that's called ASIN Grabber, and it's a way for you to actually pull a ton of ASINs, off of a keyword, and it'll literally just pull in all that stuff over across a bunch of pages. You can keep dragging it down, and it's a great way to just compile a bunch of product research. So all you have to do is once it grabs all the ASINs, you can just go ahead and download it, and you can export it as a report, and it'll pull all the ASINs for that specific keyword, which is great. So it's a fantastic way for you to also just compile all that into an Excel sheet, and it'll keep going until you download and decide to tell it to stop. Now let's dive into what I really, really think is the selling point for X-Ray is its integration into Helium 10. Now, usually I'm not sold on these things, I'm pretty skeptical, but I think it does a great job because when you install X-Ray, it also integrates Helium 10's data into the listing itself. So you'll notice right here, it pulls all this information, and you'll be able to see the product trend if you're looking at a specific product, how it's doing. And I'm assuming that they pull this data, it's probably a mix of their own data and Keepa. But yeah, you can see how the list price has changed, how the sales rank has changed, all that kind of stuff. It also has a revenue calculator right here in the listing itself, which is really, really valuable. And what I really like is its integration into keywords. So similar to Marketplace Intelligence, this goes directly onto the listing itself and integrates into Helium 10's tool called Cerebro, which we find very useful. We use that on top of other keyword tools, but it integrates directly and is very useful as you're doing more and more research. So yeah, I really like this integration, and I think it's incredibly powerful. Now, taking this a step further, they've really gone above and beyond because when you actually go ahead and click in to a listing, you have a lot more options here of things that you can do. And so let's go ahead and briefly walk through what each of these options are. So you'll notice there's a profitability calculator. So same thing, it's just a calculator. And there's an inventory level thing. I actually like this a lot. This is really great for people who are looking to do wholesale because it does the 9-9 trick at scale for all the people who are on the buy box for this listing. So it'll pull in all 44 sellers and it'll do an estimate of how much stock is remaining. Now, the way they do this trick is they basically run a test and do a test purchase for $999 added to cart. And because if a seller has under 999 units, then you'll be able to see how many units they actually have remaining. Now, if a seller has over 999 units, you're not going to be able to see how much stock they have. You can imagine it's going to be over 1,000. But if you're a wholesaler, this is very, very valuable information because then you can know how soon your competition is going to run out of stock. Now, I imagine it's taking a little while to load just because this is a pretty intensive function and there are also a lot of sellers. But when there are less sellers, it typically loads faster for me. It's not a tool I use all the time because we do all private label, but I can see it being very valuable. And also, if you have hijackers in your listing, it's also a valuable thing to do. Now, one thing I really, really like is something that's not available elsewhere on any other tool is a review downloader. This is just awesome. So, with the influx of, all the crackdowns that Amazon has been doing on reviews, it's more important now than ever for you to download your reviews, okay? And so what I like to do is I like to make it a regular practice to download our reviews just to make sure we have them in record. So if we get a massive sweep, we can go ahead and just appeal them to Amazon. But on top of that, it's useful because if you're doing competitive research, you can also look at what language people are using to basically leave reviews. And you can use that information from those reviews to go ahead and write up your copy. So I don't know why this is not working for me right now. Oh, I think it might have been the settings. So let's go ahead and try that again. So you do review downloader, let's see, only verified purchases, and we'll do January, boom. Let's see if we extract. Interesting. Well, it looks like at the time of this recording, the review pulling isn't working. I do notice that Amazon has kind of changed their formats of the reviews, so it might be something that's just a temporary thing. I don't know if Helium 10 is going to fix it anytime soon, but regardless, when it works, this was a very useful tool. Either way, in my opinion, I think it's a really great tool to use because it integrates into Helium 10's suite like Cerebro. However, if you're looking for something that's just the actual Chrome extension itself at a reasonable price, I think Marketplace Intelligence is great. And then I think for Jungle Scout, also a great tool. It's cheap because it's a one-time fee. You can't go wrong with all of them. Ultimately, you got to make your own decision. But I personally, day-to-day, have been using X-Ray a lot. And yeah, it's been great for me.
So I have a question for you guys. Have you used any of these tools? Do you personally have a favorite one? Is there one that I personally haven't mentioned in this video? If so, leave a comment in the comment section below. If you're looking for discounts or anything like that, we have a crafting guide that we'll attach in the description of this video. You'll get access to all the tools that we talked about for discounted price, and make sure that you check it out because there's a lot of other tools in there that'll be interesting for new sellers. And of course, if you have any questions that you want answered specifically or you want to open it up to the group, don't hesitate to join our Facebook group, which has over 30,000 members as of this video. Well, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found this information useful, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you can get the latest and greatest information on Amazon Private Label. Until next time, I'll see you soon.